When monitoring your client's job card movement, you basically need to go into the system and click on the coach dashboard, as was described in a previous video. And then once you into the dashboard and your list of clients are there, is locate the client. Basically click on their name, which brings up their pad. So really what you're looking for is a couple of things. One is the obvious pattern of job opportunities that they're looking at and the movement of those job cards across the pad. And of course, the objective is to move within the typical hiring cycle from step to step, whatever that time frame may be. If it's 8 weeks, the card should be moving from step to step. That's in an ideal situation. If that doesn't happen, obviously it's going to delay or decrease the likelihood of that individual finding a job. So looking at that pattern on the pad can easily tell you what's going on. So for example, if I was interested in looking at this particular opportunity, I can take a drill down and get more details. Or if I was looking at the set interview column and I could see that this individual has some opportunities coming forward, I can simply click on this, and what it does is it opens it up. And as was mentioned in earlier things, I can leave some notes and some comments and so forth. But it really allows me to identify what's going on with that client. And perhaps, I want to leave a note like, have you already prepared for this interview? And then once I've sent that out, I can just simply click save. It saves the note, an email sent out to the client that there's a note left for them, and they can go in and then you can create a dialogue for that. But it actually allows me to drill down and look at those specific things. If I go back to the coach's dashboard, that's a visual representation of the pad and what's going on with the job cards. But I could also look at this column here, which essentially is all the numbers of job cards in each of the columns. So I could see in with this particular client, he's identified 105 opportunities. He's applied to 53 of them. He's got 22 set interviews, 6 interviews, 2 verbal job offers, and no jobs taken. So I could see that obviously with the verbal job indicator, with the indicator, I could see that the two verbal job offers. So that'd be interesting to find out where the client is at with that if they haven't got in touch with me already. In other cases, I could look at the different numbers of different clients, and I could see that this client is fairly new. They're just brand new to the client. They got 000. I could know and I could see the movement. For a new client, I'm ultimately looking at the number of opportunities they identified and then what they applied to. So I'd closely want to monitor this. In this case, I may go and look at the individual's pad to get them started, even though that this is new, and actually add a job card to get them started. So if I click on create a job card, I can either look at the suggested job postings. Again, the suggested job postings are based on the client's job A and job B, and I can click create a job card, and it automatically adds that job card to the client's pad. And you can see here that Akidi Corporation Coach has been added to the job card. The client can then go into their pad and see whether or not they want to apply to it. But again, it's about kickstarting the client and moving in that direction. And again, it could be a job posting. If your agency or institution happens to have job developers, I may want to put one in here as well. But it's really monitoring the pad to see where they're at and what their movement is, because really the pad tells us a lot about what's going on with a particular client, if not a caseload. So I could see that in this particular case, the client's identified 9 but hasn't applied to 1. So I want to look at what's going on with those types of issues. So here's the types of jobs that the client has been identifying. Is it in line with their job A, mechanic? It doesn't appear to be. So what's going on with this? Has this job A changed? Has something come about? Etc., etc. And I can see that they're ultimately not applying to opportunities. They do have an interview coming up. It's not necessarily with their job A. Most likely it's with their job B. So I can take a look at that by clicking on the arrow here, clicking on the opportunity, and seeing if that's a job A or a job B, and it comes up and ultimately it's a job B. I could see that the individual has identified some criteria as to why they want to apply for it, location, gain some experience, and so forth. So it gives me a real rationale to what's going on with that individual client with regards to particular opportunities. But looking at the pattern of the pad really provides me information in terms of what's going on with the client, and allows me to suggest just-in-time interventions that may help them move their cards throughout the process. So in this particular case, the client has identified some opportunities and they don't really seem to be in keeping with their job A nor their job B. So I'd want to maybe reach out to that particular client and talk to them about, are they having difficulty finding job A's? If they are, where are they going to look for opportunities? Have they considered job B's? And I really thought about what are some other opportunities that can make them more competitive eventually for job B's, so I can see them start to add more opportunities and a balanced ratio of 1 job A to 3 job B's to their actual pad. So again, if I click on the back browser button, it brings me back to my list, and then I can go from there. But really, monitoring and managing the pad allows me to see specifically what's going on with their movement. I could look at it numerically, or I can click in to that particular client and see what's going on with regards to their job card movement, and recommend suggestions either through the coach notes, which are found within the specific job card, or going online or communicating them via email. But following and looking at the visual representation of the job search process allows me to suggest strategies in order to help them move their job opportunities forward. Again, if there's more opportunities and they're not applying for it, it begs to ask some questions of why that's going on and so forth.